Hello, I'm going to introduce who people are in just a second, but we're going to talk, the math department and the students in the math department are going to talk about the academic side of the program, what programs we have and so on. And then admissions is going to do a little bit, and then we'll answer questions afterwards. And so next, please. The faculty that are here are Heidi Berger, wave when I call your name. Me, I'm Murphy Wagoner. Ross Sweet, and then you can see Catherine in the picture. She's the third one from the left. Catherine couldn't be here tonight. And then we also have Laura Nilsson and Tyler. Yeah. Laura and Tyler are students in the math department right now, and we will let them have their say later on. So we want to talk about the programs in the mathematics department. We have three majors: mathematics, actuarial science, and data science. And while they are related, they have specific types of courses that you take in them that are different from each other, and they serve different audiences. So the mathematics program, the mathematics major, is really a broad program. There are a lot of electives in there, and so students who take a mathematics major will choose electives that are specifically of interest to them. And there are many job opportunities. If you saw the title of our slide, it's our slides, it said do math and you can do anything, and that is so true. Every business, every organization, every nonprofit needs someone to help them make decisions, and who better to provide the analysis needed to be able to make decisions than someone who's got a strong analytics background, and mathematics does that. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when we talk about some of our students, and you'll see a big list of jobs that our students, when they leave Simpson, have done. Actuarial science also takes math courses like calculus and so on, but instead of having this broad range of courses that they take a focused set of courses in statistics and probability, economics, data analysis. The people who study actuarial science end up usually working in an industry for companies that want them to measure risk. What kind of risk would we be taking if we gave this insurance policy to this person? What kind of risk would we be taking if we made this financial investment? So that's the sort of thing that actuaries do. Data science is very similar. It's also emphasis statistics and calculus and all that sort of thing, but the students who take data science focus in computing and data analysis. And the thing that and I don't know if you've noticed, but everybody wants data scientists. Big data is a big deal, and the data science majors are the ones who can look at data and help companies or nonprofits or other organizations make data-based decisions. And so that's the sort of thing that they do. So I'm going to turn this over to Heidi Berger, and she's going to talk about 6 of our recent grads.
So first on the list here is Sarah Lawson de Gonzalez. She just got married this summer in Chile. I'm still not used to her full name. She graduated with a mathematics major in 2020. And just to give some ideas of her path when she was here and some of her achievements. So she was a math and science double major, and she had a minor in secondary education. And as a math major, you take a variety of courses, including some of the electives that Murphy was talking about, like differential equations, things in the calculus sequence. Sarah did a lot with probability and statistics as well. While a student at Simpson, she participated in the religious life community. She conducted summer research in our Bryan Summer Research Program that's offered through our department, and you'll hear more about that later in the program. She secured 2 internships during the summers after her second and third years, and those internships led to her full-time employment now with Guide 1. She also did some study abroad experiences while here, including a May term in Costa Rica. And now she is at Guide 1. Her second internship transferred into a full-time position. And this is a company that provides insurance to community organizations. And I think for Sarah, it was especially of interest that they worked with a lot of church communities. That was appealing to her. To highlight an actuarial science major, we have Truman Schmitt, who also graduated in 2020. You can see from his picture that baseball was very, very important for Truman. So he was an actuarial science and finance double major. And he was named to the all-region teams by the D3Baseball.com and ACBC. As an actuarial science major, Truman would have taken things like the calculus series and then specialized in things like financial math course, probability and statistics course, corporate finance. These are the sorts of building blocks that help with the actuarial exam sequence in his career. As a student, similar to Sarah, Truman also had a couple of internships. His were both with Transamerica Insurance. The first was in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and then for a second summer, he worked in Baltimore. He passed 3 actuarial exams before graduating and now works at Transamerica Insurance. So as in this case with Sarah, the preparation that Truman had while a student in our program enabled him to have his internship then become a full-time profession. Data science is the newest of our majors. It was declared officially last spring, and so we've had 1 graduate so far, and we thought we would highlight one of our current students for this, just to give an idea of some of the breadth that's possible with data science, something similar to what Murphy was talking about with this field. So we're featuring Mary Hendon. She's currently a junior, scheduled to graduate in 2022. She currently has declared data science and environmental science as her majors. I remember meeting her as a prospective student, and she was interested in saving the world. And indeed, she is well on her way to doing that with these sorts of analytic skills. So she's taken courses, including things with learning how to program in Python, doing things with data wrangling and data cleaning, things with probability and statistics. Mary has been very involved in the program, especially working with multiple data analytics competitions, even starting in her first and second year. So as part of those, we'll hear more about those later in the presentation, but there was some traveling and some group work that she was doing in these competitions. And she's planning to combine her interests, again, to save the world by looking at environmental data gathered in the field. So we've had a lot of success with current and past students. For the past, I believe, 2 years, students in our department have had 100% post-graduation placement in jobs like, in either jobs in industry or government, or places with placements in graduate school or in service type environments. To highlight 3 more of our outstanding graduates, Genevieve Block, who graduated in December 2019, was an actuarial science major, and she now works for ACT, the testing company in Iowa City. She's doing some work with databases and more like computer programming type things with that organization. In a similar way to what we'd heard from some of the other graduates on the previous slides, Genevieve had an internship with ACT that then transferred into a full-time position, although she switched departments. Nick Jocelyn graduated in 2018. He was a physics and math double major and is now pursuing his PhD in electrical engineering applied physics in University of Michigan. He recently was awarded a very prestigious Department of Defense engineering graduate fellowship to assist in his studies. He actually had to turn down an equally prestigious fellowship from the National Science Foundation while a student at Simpson, Nick was involved in numerous research projects, had 2 of his papers published in peer-reviewed journals, and he was also a leader on the soccer team. Finally, there's Connor Riordan. He graduated in May 2020. He studied math and then minored in secondary education, and now he's a 9th grade math teacher at Johnston Middle School. In preparing for this presentation, I reached out to him today to see how he's doing. He's doing well, even though it's he admits, very odd semester. While here, in addition to being involved in our department, Connor excelled as a basketball player. He even went on to represent our country, not this past summer, but the summer before in Brazil. He played as part of the Division III team that summer, and that was a wonderful opportunity. Really game changer, no pun intended.
All right, so thanks, Heidi. So we're going to go over to Ross this time, and Ross is going to talk about what our students do outside of the classroom. You've heard some of the activities that students do that aren't necessarily math related, but you also heard about internships and competitions, research, and we also are kind of social when we can be, and we're not isolating. And so Ross is going to talk about these.
Okay, so one of the big things our students are involved in campus is participating in competitions. So the 2 main competitions that our students work on are the MCM, ICM. So these are the mathematical and interdisciplinary contests in modeling. So it's an international competition, typically around 10,000 teams participating all over the world. Simpson has a huge turnout for this competition. We have, for many years, had, until I believe recently, had the most number of teams participating in the entire country, which is pretty amazing for a small school like Simpson. These are 96-hour-long competitions where students are grappling with an open-ended problem where they have to make assumptions, build mathematical models, test their models, and make predictions. Some really interesting problems recently were, for example, there was a problem about coordinating drones for providing relief during disasters. And there was a problem inspired by Game of Thrones, doing an ecology model for introducing dragons into an ecosystem. That was a really interesting problem. There's a new problem that our students a new competition that our students are involved in, and that's the MUDAC, the Midwest Undergraduate Data Analytics Competition, and a related competition, Mini MUDAC. So these are data science focused competitions, and Murphy, the past couple of years, has taken students up to the Twin Cities area to compete. And one of the more interesting and sort of topical projects recently was students on these data science teams were having to predict voter turnout in a Minnesota primary. And the interesting thing about the timing of this competition, it was going to provide testable predictions because it was shortly before the primary. So we could actually test these data science models that students were making. It's a great opportunity for students to work together and to actually apply the skills that they're learning in the classroom. They learn great team building skills, and they're able to showcase their ability to work on real world problems when they go to interview with employers. We also have a robust undergraduate research program for our students. One of our big flagship program is the Bryan Summer Research Program. This is a research program run in the summers for small groups of students that provide funding both as a stipend and in terms of lodging for students to stay on campus for 8 weeks over the summer and work on difficult theoretical and applied mathematics problems. Many of these projects result in publications. Most of them result in presentations at national conferences. And this is, again, a great opportunity to learn some collaboration skills, some team building skills, and learn how to actually grapple with a problem where it's not really always clear what the solution is going to be. We've had some really interesting problems lately that students have worked on. The one on the screen right now is actually a billiards problem. So mapping out the path a ball would take on a billiards table that isn't necessarily shaped like a normal billiards table. Heidi has, for the past couple of years, mentored research programs that focus on Down syndrome. So these are more data science focused problems where students are either modeling or applying data science techniques to, say, the distribution of Down syndrome clinics in the country. And again, great opportunity for students after their first or second year to get involved with research, which is fairly unusual. Most research programs at most colleges and universities are not dedicated toward first and second year students. That's something we're really proud of. We also have a math club that hosts social events throughout the year. One of the big ones that normally would be coming up, we're actually, our math club president, Jade Thompson, is actually currently working on trying to get this running. It's a Halloween casino night. This is something that a lot of our probability students get involved in. So not only having some fun doing some mock gambling with casino games, but also learning a lot of the math behind them and why the house always wins. We host guest speakers. We have a STEM Jeopardy tournament, a big Pi Day celebration. And the picture you see on the screen here is from our Pi Day celebration, where we had a contest for who could recite the most digits of pi memorized. I did not win. I think I had 6 digits memorized. I was not even close. So yeah, lots of fun opportunities for our students in our 3 majors to all get involved together and work together and have some fun. We have, as Heidi has mentioned, a number of our students complete internships, oftentimes multiple internships during their time at Simpson. And again, often many of these lead to employment after graduation. For students who are interested in actuarial science, we at Simpson host an actuarial science interview day where we have a lot of local and regional companies that hire actuaries for internships come in and interview and later on hire students. So companies like Principal, EMC Insurance, Transamerica, Nationwide, Athene, among others. And some of the other internships that our students have gotten, we see Levi on the screen here. He had an internship at the New Bohemian Innovation Collaborative. This was a nonprofit organization dedicated toward STEM education and outreach in the communities. We saw Genevieve had worked at ACT, Central Iowa ACES 360. That was a public health organization that we had a student doing data science internship for. Power Pollen, we have internships in data science and engineering and a lot of other fields there. And I want to make sure I highlight the work that our Career Development Office does in setting up these interviews, doing training for our students. We have a really robust and amazing network of support staff to help students prepare, not just for internships, but being successful in the job market. And then we recognize that a lot of the problems that our students' employers are interested in are these real-world open-ended problems where you're dealing with messy data, you're dealing with poorly posed problems that you don't necessarily know if there's a well-stated solution. So we have courses that involve interdisciplinary research opportunities with local and global companies. We've had small groups of students work with mentors in the organization, such as Power Pollen, EMC, Coppers Incorporated, Blank Park Zoo, DMPS. And an example of a project here, Coppers Incorporated is a chemical supply company based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And we had 2 groups of students working on a supply chain management problem for them. They were interested, Coppers was interested in sort of understanding how much material they needed to have in stock in order to fill orders. They were worried that they were sort of stocking way too much based on their order history. So our students were able to build a statistical model that gave certain places where they could reduce the amount of material they had in stock, which had the potential to save the company millions of dollars a year. So again, real world problems that have real world impacts. And this is something that our students are doing on campus.
You've heard from the faculty, but probably what's more important is what the students think about this. And so Laura and Tyler are going to tell you some about what they've done at Simpson and their experience here.
So yeah, my name's Tyler. I am currently in my 3rd year here at Simpson. I'm an actuarial science major and also minoring in Spanish. And I'm originally from Waukee, Iowa, so pretty close by, but really the distance has not been a problem for me. Throughout my time here at Simpson, I've taken all sorts of math classes, being a part of the actuarial science program. But one thing that I've also really enjoyed is that there are a lot of different computer science classes and econ classes as a part of the track as well. And these have been really important for me, getting out into the actuarial world, giving me the experience and the tools that I need to be successful. I've also been able to participate in many department events and organizations during my time here. So Ross touched on some of these, but I am a two-time participant in the mathematical contest in modeling, which is the big math competition that we have here at Simpson every year. This is an international competition, and teams have 3 days to complete a project that is very demanding on your technical skills, but also very rewarding as well. It tests your ability to work as a team and problem solve, and in the end, when you create your final paper, it helps you to communicate your results effectively. And I think that this competition has really helped me not only to have something helpful on a resume, but also to improve on all of these skills. Also, I've been involved with the math club in my time here. Currently, I'm the secretary, and also I participated in the Actuarial Science Interview Day, which was really big for me. I participated the fall of my sophomore year, where I was able to interview with several different insurance companies that are located here in the Des Moines area. And ultimately, I landed an internship for this past summer of 2020 with Athene, which is a life insurance company headquartered in West Des Moines. This opportunity for me was invaluable in being able to apply all the skills that I've learned here at Simpson and learn so much about everything that the insurance industry involves and what it means to actually be an actuary. And I had great help from student development during my time with the interview day, helping me get prepared. They worked with me on my resume and with mock interviews, which were incredibly helpful. And then at the summer of 2020, after my time at Athene, I was ultimately able to land a full-time offer, which I'm going to begin upon my graduation. And honestly, I couldn't thank Simpson enough for helping me be prepared and giving me the skills I need so that when I graduate this May, I'll be successful as an actuarial scientist.
Okay, hello. Like Tyler, I am also in my third year at Simpson, and I'm double majoring in math and Spanish. I also am in the academic honors program, which is kind of like a minor with the amount of other classes that you have to take in the honors program. So I just think it's kind of cool that I'm able to double major in two departments that don't overlap at all, ever. And I'm still going to graduate in 4 years too. So that's just something nice to be able to highlight. Other things that like I've been involved in on campus. So I'm in a sorority, and I'm in admissions. I'm an ambassador for the admissions office. I do a lot of community service through clubs and through a scholarship that I have. So I've really been able to get involved in a lot of different campus activities. And I can tell that when I, through being like a math major and the skills that I've like developed, like critical thinking and problem solving and stuff, like sometimes it's very apparent that I just think differently than like my peers and stuff. So, and that's stuff that I've learned and been able to grow through in my math classes. A couple things that I've done like within the math department specifically. So this past summer, I was actually supposed to be able to do the Bryan Summer Research Program. That didn't happen, so hopefully that'll happen next summer, but I'm really excited to get to do that because I think it's a really cool opportunity. And when I was looking at Simpson as a high school student, I specifically remember being told about the Bryan Research Program and how cool I thought it really was, so I'm glad to actually be able to participate in now. And then I also, last spring, as a sophomore, in conjunction with my honors courses, I took the PIC math class, which was what Ross was talking about, where I actually was one of the students who got to work with coppers and kind of solve that like real world problem. And I worked with a workplace mentor. So that was really cool and something that I have not gotten to experience in any of my other courses at Simpson. So that was really a great, valuable opportunity for me. Yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Laura.
So this question is for the math professors, the mathematics professors. Do any of our majors incorporate geometry specifically?
The short answer to that is yes, but let me elaborate on that. So in the math major itself, there are a lot of different directions that students can go, and we have an upper level geometry course, but we also have courses that incorporate geometry in other ways. We have something called a graph theory course, which is all about the geometry of networks. Topology is an area of mathematics that specifically studies the shapes of things. And differential equations and linear algebra and multivariable calculus all deal with the geometry of systems and how to look at them. So the answer is yes, you can focus a lot on geometry. I don't know if either one of you, Ross or Heidi, want to say more about that.
I'll add a couple things. Geometry is also an important elective if you're thinking of doing an education pairing with your math major. This is one of the areas that will help with getting the accreditation that you need to be able to teach, especially at the high school level. So it's a very important class, especially in that context as well.
There are also connections to geometry with data science. So there is a wide range of data science techniques that use computational geometry. In other words, recognizing that the shape that data takes can give you interesting insights into problems that you can solve using that data. And in fact, one of the Bryan Summer Research problems that was supposed to run last summer and will hopefully run this coming summer is based on a data science technique called topological data analysis. Again, as Murphy mentioned, topology is in many ways a subset of geometry. So that project will focus on building an algorithm to classify cancer cells from microscopy images using some of the topological and geometric details of the different types of malignant and non-malignant cells in those microscopy slides.
Alrighty. Well, since that is going to be it, I want to make sure that I do thank our mathematics department as well as our current students for shining some light on all of the great things that you guys are doing over there in the Carver Science Hall. And also to our guests for this evening, thank you so much for joining us. We do hope that you got some really good information. And again, stay connected with us. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and also on LinkedIn. TikTok coming soon. But that's going to be it. So we will go ahead and end it here. Thanks so much, everyone.